Ever feel like making friends as an adult is a total nightmare? You are definitely not alone. Welcome back to the English Pulse.
Oh, tell me about it, James. Between work, family, and just being exhausted, our social lives completely change in our 40s.
Today we're following our friend Emily. She just moved to a brand new town, tried to put herself out there at school events, and ended up feeling like a total fish out of water at a Pilates class full of grandmothers.
Poor Emily. But her psychologist friend John is about to drop some incredible, low-pressure advice to fix her social life. Let's listen in.
Hey, John. Thanks for meeting me. Honestly, I'm just feeling so defeated lately.
Hey, Emily. Take a breath, I'm here. Defeated by what?
Just trying to plant roots here. Ever since we moved last summer for the kids' new school, I've been trying so hard to connect.
Right, you've been volunteering at the school, correct? How is that going?
It's frustrating. I really tried to put myself out there. I signed up for everything, hoping to meet other middle school moms.
And did you manage to chat with them?
During the events, yes. But whenever I personally reached out afterward to ask someone for a quick coffee, it was a total dead end. Everyone is just too slammed with work or family.
That's incredibly common. Adult life has a massive infrastructure problem for friendships. We don't have that built-in closeness of college anymore.
An infrastructure problem? What do you mean by that?
Well, as adults, we lack structural proximity. We aren't forced into the same room every day with peers anymore. Isolation becomes the default. So what did you try next?
I joined a local Pilates club. I wanted to stay active and meet people with similar healthy habits. And hey, it actually worked for the coffee part. We go to a cafe right next door after every class.
Hey, that's huge. You got them to follow through and sit down, so what's the catch?
John, they are all grandmothers?
Wait, really? All of them?
Yes. They are incredibly sweet, but the entire conversation is just swapping pictures of grandkids and debating baby food brands. I sat there feeling like a total fish out of water. Am I just being impatient?
Welcome back to the English Pulse. Today, we're diving into a trending wellness topic that is incredibly relatable for so many of us, the massive challenge of making friends as an adult.
Oh, tell me about it, James. When we're in school or university, friendships just happen naturally because we're forced into the same rooms day after day. But once you hit your 30s and 40s, that social framework completely disappears, making connection feel like a lot of hard work.
Exactly. It's an emotional roller coaster, and Emily is right in the thick of it. Let's break down the first part of her conversation with John and look at some highly useful vocabulary you can use to describe your own social life.
Let's start right at the beginning, where Emily talks about trying to plant roots. Think of this as establishing a permanent, settled life, base, or home in a specific place. You're trying to make a place feel like home.
Right. Example, after moving around for a decade, they finally decided to plant roots in a quiet suburban neighborhood.
And to do that, Emily mentions that she tried to put herself out there. This means you take a social risk. You consciously expose yourself to new people, groups, or unfamiliar situations, even if it feels a little scary.
Exactly. Example, if you want to meet people at the new job, you really have to put yourself out there during lunchtime.
But even though she tried, things didn't go as planned. Emily said she reached out to other moms, but got nowhere. When you reach out to someone, it means you make a deliberate effort to communicate or connect with them. It could be for help, advice, or just to ask them to hang out.
Yes, like sending a quick text to check in. Example, I decided to reach out to my old manager on LinkedIn to see if she wanted to grab a quick coffee.
But the other moms didn't have time because they were slammed with work or family. If you're slammed with something, it means you're completely overwhelmed, overloaded, or extremely busy with a massive amount of tasks or responsibilities.
Example, I would love to join you for dinner tonight, but I'm totally slammed with quarterly reports right now.
John then agrees with her and says that in adult life, isolation becomes the default. This means that being alone becomes your automatic, standard condition of life. If you don't make a conscious effort to change it, you just stay isolated by default.
It's a sad reality for many. Example, when you work from home in a brand new city, isolation becomes the default before you even realize it.
Next, Emily talks about her Pilates class. She actually got the other women to follow through and go to a cafe. To follow through means to complete a planned action or stick to a commitment until it is fully finished. You actually do what you said you would do.
Right, you don't cancel at the last minute. Example, he promised he would come to the weekend barbecue, but he failed to follow through and stayed home instead.
But here's the catch. The women were all grandmothers talking about baby toys and baby formula, so Emily felt like a fish out of water. This is a classic idiom used to describe a person who feels completely uncomfortable, awkward, and out of place because they're in an unfamiliar environment, or a group where they don't fit in.
Just picture a fish trying to live on land, completely out of its element. Example, as the only person wearing a formal suit at the casual beach party, I felt like a total fish out of water.
But don't count her out just yet. Will John's psychological insight actually help Emily break out of this lonely cycle? Stay tuned for the second part of our dialogue to find out. John is about to drop some incredibly simple, low-pressure, and actionable advice that anyone can use to build authentic friendships without burning out.
Not at all. You're experiencing a classic psychological paradox. You deeply want connection, but you don't want to make an unnatural effort to force it.
An unnatural effort? Is that why it feels so exhausting?
Exactly. It's draining to pretend to relate to baby food when you're managing middle schoolers. It feels like networking rather than bonding.
It really does. I don't want to bail on the Pilates class because the workout is great, but is the social side just a dead end?
Not necessarily, but you need to understand the missing pieces. To bond naturally, you need both reoccurring contact and shared context.
Reoccurring contact and shared context? Can you break that down for me?
Sure. Pilates gives you reoccurring contact because you see them every week, but it lacks shared context. Your life stages don't match. School events had the shared context but lacked regular low-pressure contact. You need both together.
Okay, I see. So how do I combine them without burning myself out?
Shift your strategy to micro-communities. Instead of big one-off school events, look for a hyper-specific recurring group where middle school parents naturally gather over time.
Like what? What would be a good example?
Think of a weekly youth sports league, a recurring school booster club, or a neighborhood hobby group that meets at the exact same time every single week.
So the routine itself does the heavy lifting for me?
Exactly. When you find that sweet spot, you won't have to force a thing. You'll just strike up a casual conversation about the activity itself.
And because we are already there for the same reason, it flows better?
Precisely. Because you see each other every week in a setting you both actually care about, you're bound to hit it off with someone walking the exact same path as you.
Well, that certainly beats nodding along to stories about teething toddlers. Thanks, John. I know exactly what to look for now.
Let's pick up right where Emily is stuck in her dilemma. She tells John that she doesn't want to bail on her Pilates class just because the social vibe isn't right. When you bail on something or someone, it means you cancel plans, skip an obligation, or abandon an activity at the last minute.
Exactly. It's like flaking out. Example, I had to bail on gym class because my boss called me into an urgent last-minute meeting.
Now, once Emily finds a routine where she interacts with people who share her specific lifestyle, John says she'll be in the sweet spot. When you find the sweet spot, it means you have found the optimum, ideal, or most effective situation, balance, or combination of factors where everything works together perfectly.
It's that perfect middle ground where things become easy. Example, for me, the sweet spot for a morning workout is 30 minutes. It gives me energy without making me too tired for work.
Now, if Emily can find a routine and the right group where she can share her specific lifestyle, John says she is bound to make a real connection. When something is bound to happen, it means it is certain, inevitable, or highly likely to occur because of the circumstances.
It's practically guaranteed. Example, if you keep practicing your English every single day, your fluency is bound to improve drastically.
And finally, John points out that once you find that sweet spot, you'll easily hit it off with someone walking the exact same path. To hit it off means to instantly connect, get along famously, and become great friends with someone the very first time you meet them.
Total instant chemistry. Example, we met at a crowded cooking workshop last weekend and hit it off immediately over our love for spicy food.
What a fantastic wrap-up to Emily's social dilemma. John's advice reminds us that building friendships doesn't require exhausting, unnatural networking. We just need to put ourselves in environments where regular contact and shared life stages do the heavy lifting for us.
Beautifully said, James. We've also put together a complete free PDF lesson guide for this entire episode. You can find the link right down in the video description to download it, review the sentences, and upgrade your spoken English today.
If you want to master these phrasal verbs and practice using them with the people in your life, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now so you never miss an episode. See you next time on The English Pulse.